Your Excellency, the Governor for the Littoral Region, here represented by, ladies and gentlemen, the head of division at the Governor's office in charge of administrative and judicial affairs, the representatives of the consul generals for the Northwest and Southwest regions and the littoral and west regions respectively, the president for the Nigerian community in Cameroon, very, very distinguished guests, economic operators, ladies and gentlemen. It is a humbling task for me this morning to host this very wonderful event as we celebrate the 10th anniversary of NAIJA Diaspora. Madame la représentante du gouverneur de la région du littoral, tout protocole observé, distingués invités, mesdames, mesdemoiselles et messieurs, permettez-moi de vous donner l'énoncé du programme de cet événement. Tout d'abord, nous aurons l'exécution de l'hymne national. Ensuite, nous aurons le mot de bienvenue de la part du président du comité d'organisation. Ensuite, nous aurons un mot officiel de la part du représentant de Madame la Consul Générale. Et bien entendu, nous aurons le mot du docteur Haré qui va ouvrir les discussions dans le panel. Bien entendu, nous aurons les distingués panélistes qui prendront la parole tour à tour pour nous entretenir et nous éclaircir sur les différentes thématiques. Distinguished guests, our program this morning will be centered around the following articulations. First and foremost, we're going to have the singing of the national anthem. Thereafter, we're going to have a welcome word from the organizing committee. And of course, we're going to have an official opening done by the representative of the Consul General for the Littoral and West regions. And of course, you prepare us for the keynote address. Immediately after the keynote address, it will be time for us to open the panel discussions around a few thematics selected randomly, but most importantly, guided by diaspora activities. We would have discussions with the guests, we would have closing remarks, and of course, official photos. Without much ado, I therefore crave your indulgence for us to rise for the singing of the national anthem. O Cameroon, to comme un soleil, ton drapeau fier doit être un symbole ardent de foi. Thank you. You may be seated. Veuillez vous asseoir. Madame the representative. We do ourselves justice. May we rise one more time for the singing of the Nigerian anthem.
Rise, O compatriots, Nigeria does obey, to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes shall never be in vain. To serve without a might, one nation bound and freedom, peace and unity.
Madam the representative of the governor for the littoral region, very distinguished guests, your excellencies here represented, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me a lot of pleasure at this juncture to give you a 1-minute insight of the vision of NAIJA diaspora. It is important for us to uphold this because that is the raison d'etre. Their mission is to provide the latest insights and opportunities in Nigeria to diaspora Nigerians and those in our host countries. Their vision is to be the preferred platform for every African in the diaspora. I prefer to stop at that. For every African means it is englobing. Can we put our hands together for NAIJA diaspora? We are therefore going ahead to invite the publisher of NAIJA Diaspora magazine. Welcome. Can we have Mr. Ismaila Adegbola? Please put your hands together. You know, maiden editions are never easy, and we crave your indulgence to bear with the organizing committee, but it's promising to be exciting and entertaining. Please make welcome one more time for Mr. Ismaila Adegbola.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for honoring us. Today is a special day in my life, in the life of my family. A day I will never forget. A struggle we commenced 10 years ago. Today has become something else. I want to give glory to the Almighty God for giving me the strength, the determination, the commitment and bring people like you to surround me. It wasn't an easy journey, but I believe after today's event, there's going to be a new story in my life, in your lives. Thank you very much. The representative of Mr. Governor, Madam, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good day and a warm welcome to this remarkable occasion as we gather to celebrate a decade of Nigeria Diaspora magazine's impactful journey. Today, we are not just marking a milestone, we are recognizing a vision that has shaped narrative, bridged continents, and celebrated the positive work and impact of Nigerians and Africans globally. In the spirit of this milestone, we have created this symposium as a unique platform for learning, networking, and delving into the intricacies of government policies as it intimately relates to our communities. This symposium is more than an event. It's an opportunity for collective understanding, fostering connections, and gaining insight that empower us to navigate the pathways of positive change. I started the magazine amidst so many uncertainties and difficulties with the sole purpose of celebrating Nigerians and Africans making impact and changing lives globally. In the last 10 years, the magazine has been a beacon of inspiration, navigating challenges with resilience, and conquering obstacles in the pursuit of excellence. As we reflect on the challenges surmounted, it is crucial to recognize the collective endeavor involving the benevolent collaboration of government officials, corporate bodies, business proprietors, ordinary individuals, fellow Nigerians, and our hospitable hosts in Cameroon. They have, in various capacities, supported us through encouragement, interviews, advertising investment, and a willingness to share their stories. These individuals stand as genuine heroes, embracing our vision and inadvertently becoming integral contributors to the Nigeria Diaspora movement. I extend our deepest appreciation to the Cameroon government for their hospitality towards foreigners, particularly Nigerians, creating an enabling environment where diverse voices can harmonize to create a tapestry of unity and progress. The symbiotic relationship between Nigeria and Cameroon has not only fostered collaboration, but has also become a blueprint for mutual growth and understanding. Looking ahead, Nigeria Diaspora Magazine envisions expanding its operations beyond the borders of Nigeria and Cameroon, reaching new horizons and delving into various spheres of media, while ensuring that the magazine remains true to its mission with a more frequency in publication. This ambitious plan reflects a commitment to a broader impact and pursuit of excellence in storytelling and representation of Nigerians and Africans. As we embark on this next chapter, we eagerly anticipate the inaugural Diaspora Excellence Awards. It serves as a tribute to individuals or groups who have consistently and significantly contributed to development and promotion of ethical principles, positively impacting society, whether through leadership, mentorship, corporate social responsibility, government, public policy, or by improving the lives of our community. This event promises to recognize improving the lives, and this event promises to recognize and celebrate those remarkable individuals who have left an indelible mark on the diaspora narrative. In conclusion, I say thank you for joining us to celebrate not just a decade in publication, but a decade of fostering connections, overcoming challenges, and championing the positive impact of Nigerians and Africa worldwide. Thank you for your session.
Please, another round of applause for Mr. Ismaila. It may interest you to know, Madam the representative of the governor, that the Excellence Award will be taking place tomorrow, and it's going to be a grandiose event. Overcoming challenges and championing the positive impact of Nigerians and Africans worldwide. That is the conclusion of the word of the CEO and publisher. Very distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to acknowledge the two other panelists who have joined us. We have Dr. Are, Dr. Engineer Are, our keynote speaker. Please, can we give him a round of applause? And we have Mr. Judah Nele, the CEO Managing Director of UBA Bank in Cameroon. And at the extreme of our panel board, we have the youngest panelist amongst all of them, Magistrate Ayuk Etang Brandon. That having been said, I would go ahead and enjoin the representative of the Consul General for Nigeria, for the littoral and west regions, in the person of Mr. Oliver Uchi, the Consul One, who will be giving us the official opening word. Please put your hands together as he joins us.
Thank you, MC, for that remark. And I would like to also to congratulate the NAIJA diaspora for his 10th anniversary. It is my humble pleasure to recognize the representatives of the governor of the Littoral Region, representatives of the Consul General of Northwest and Southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon, members of the Consular Corps, the Mayor of Buea Municipal Council, captains of industry, royal fathers and religious leaders, the President and members of Nigerian community, authorities in your respective ranks and titles, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you most cordially to this very important event, the first edition Annual Symposium of NAIJA Diaspora Magazine. I am most delighted to see many distinguished personalities gathered here to support a patriotic Nigerian and media guru, Mr. Ismail Abola, for attaining the great milestone. No doubt, this remarkable achievement is the culmination of foresight, bravery, determination, and enormous effort which began 10 years ago. You will all agree with me that NAIJA Diaspora is an initiative of a high standard of information and knowledge sharing on contemporary, local, and international issues. This is how valuable press men can be helping to explore better ways of dissemination of information. During the panel discussion, different experts will offer their views on the theme on this symposium, diaspora and nation building, challenges, opportunities, and prospects. With your cooperation, I would like to encourage constructive discussions on the subject matter. I thank you for listening. Long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Long live the Republic of Cameroon. Thank you very much.
Madame la représentante, sans plus tarder, nous allons procéder avec la suite de notre programme. At this juncture, it is time for us to give our keenest attention, our utmost presence by listening to a keynote speaker. But before we welcome the keynote speaker, it's important for us to have an inside knowledge, if not a paragraph of who he is. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Engineer Are Paul Abuno is an expert and is the founder and president of Cameroon Smallholders Farmers Cooperative. He is a native of Osing, that is the Umojok subdivision in the Manu division. He is personally someone who has done over 14 publications and is a holder, ladies and gentlemen, of a US city from Boya. That is, he holds an MBA in Industrial and Management Engineering. He is a PhD holder in Computing Systems Engineering. He has an MSc in Computer Sciences and Communications, a BTech Computer Science, and of course, today he is a keynote speaker. He is humble. He is a modest fellow. But trust me, you're not going to be disappointed when he mounts the pulpit. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's make welcome as we invite Dr. Are Paul Abuno, who is married and a father of 4. Please put your hands together as he joins us.
Thank you very much, sir. Your Excellency, the Governor of the Littoral Region, Your Excellency, the representative of the Consul General for Littoral and West Regions, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the Chief Executive of MBA, excuse me, my protocol is a bit lacking. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm an academic. I'm a serial entrepreneur. And today, I would like you, at the end of this discussion, to help me answer this simple question. Am I a diasporan? All what I'm going to say here today, all of us will leave here answering these questions about yourself. Are you a diasporan? So we'll start first with who is a diasporan. I will tell on my speech. I like to speak off script, so forgive me, because I don't always follow the script. Who is a diasporan? So my talk today is going to have 3 segments. We're going to diagnose who is a diasporan. We're going to prognose who and how you become a diasporan. And we're going to give some prescriptions on how we can go about helping the diaspora to help us, the indigenous nations. A few years ago, I don't think it's a few years, in 1990, I was called up by the Cameroon government and given a ticket to go to Nigeria to study computer science as a Cameroon International Scholarship student. And I refused. because I have gained a scholarship, no, I've gained admission to study computer science in Imperial College London. And when the government called me and gave me an offer, I should go to Nigeria to study computer science, my answer is no. Then my uncle called me and said he went to Nigeria and studied community development. He came back and went to Canada, to Carleton University, and studied political science and public administration. He came back home and went to NAM and became a civil administrator. Today, then in 1999, he was a minister of special missions at the presidency. And he told me, of everywhere I went through, I learned one thing in Nigeria, that everybody in Nigeria either sells something or produces something. I will advise you go to Nigeria to start your very lengthy journey, which I never thought it was going to come true. Since then, I've been to 14 different countries around the world. I went to Nigeria and I went to study computer science in Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University. And no, I didn't go to Abubakar Tafawa. I was sent to University of Ibadan to study medicine, MBBS. And I got to Lagos. I went to the University of Ibadan, where doing business in the country. If there's so much paperwork involved, then it discourages the diaspora. And you will not blame them for not doing the maximum they can, because for now, they are only doing as much as 50% or less. The diaspora, at the end, we're going to prescribe that the diaspora should partner with local industries in a private-private, public-private partnerships, such that their partners in their country's origin can do and supervise the investments and protect their interests, and then we can see a win-win situation for the diaspora. Today, some countries in Africa are having a ministry dedicated to the diaspora. I don't want to give cheap publicity to those countries, but these are countries which are visionary, because 1/3 of the developments that we have in this country, more than 1/3 of the foreign exchange earnings of every country today is thanks to the diaspora. This merits an entire ministry to regulate that sector, to be able to work with them, to make it easier for them to do business in their home country, and to make their investments protected by making laws that are favorable and protective of the diaspora. That includes dual nationality. There are so many countries in the world with dual nationality like Nigeria. I wrote a paper a few years ago and asked, but this dual nationality thing, who is afraid of the diaspora? This is what I did. I spent 9 years on Cameroon government scholarship abroad, and I came back home. And I went to the University of Boya, and I said, okay, I want a job. I was given a job in the National Polytechnic as a lecturer. Then I told them, I said, you know what? They said, no. I think I should go to Boya and start a Department of Computer Engineering. So I went to Boya, and they told me there's no manpower, there's no infrastructure, there's no money, there is no programs, and so on. They create so much hurdles just because they don't have that experience of living abroad and seeing how others do things. We think we should have everything on the ground before we start. And then I proposed that I could be able to start a partnership with the University of Boya to build the Institute of Engineering and Technology. And we worked together, the programs, and I sponsored everything at a time when it was to be launched. Then they called me and said, oh, Doug, you know, we were so optimistic about these programs, but you know, policy has not met the reality. So I took all what I've done. I went to see the Minister of Higher Education, Professor Trinity at the time, and we sat in his office, and I made a presentation of what had happened in the University of Boya. He says, oh, we want people to come back like you from the diaspora and bring this technology that they are afraid of, because they can't even see inside beyond the casing of the computer. Now you have done that, this is the Cameroonian way of killing things. So he called the Secretary General, he called the Director of Private Higher Education. He says, come, get me the statutes authorizing private higher education. Give it to this young man, go and put an incomplete file, and in the next 1 month, let us create a private university for you to run these programs you have developed. And that is how I came to create the first private university in the whole of Southwest in 2003. I've gone ahead to create so many other things. So this is the impact of the diaspora. I came, I was not shying away from the challenges of the capital. I told them, I'll go to Nigeria and India and get professors. And we'll start under the tree. That's how University of Yaoundé started. That's how University of Ibadan started. We'll start under the tree, and the first intakes, we'll go to the bank and get a loan to build the first infrastructure. And I will bring the lecturers. I have developed the programs. So what is the problem? You can see the inertia we have in Cameroon because of the lack of exposure and the practicality or pragmatism of getting things done. So the diaspora actually comes in handy to help the indigenous nations to be able to generate new ideas, new areas of development, and new enterprise. Today, there's this challenge we have to say, for example, what is moral and what is not moral. If you see a Yahoo boy sitting in his room, he's unemployed, and he gets his phone and his laptop and he begins to scam people around the world. When he does that, the police and the gendarme are on their trail, but when they catch them, they have to share the booty and everybody goes win-win. A government minister, the Director General of a parastatal, will steal billions of dollars from the government institution. And they have a way of getting around it. So who of them is more moral? We're not saying that in order for us to grow, we have to dump our morals. In church one day, there was a story which my pastor said. A young man was moving around. A thief went and stole so much money and was being chased down. He ran into a house and dumped the money there with somebody who is poor, and then ran out and was killed. So the person hid the money and took the money and became a rich man. And he declared it was manna from heaven. Is that manna from heaven? Is a Yahoo boy a criminal? Those are the thematics and the discussions in which you live here today asking yourself the questions. Okay, let's look at the prognosis on how the diaspora can help the continent better. I'm going to say that if we, those who are here, the diaspora, we make the laws, we create a ministry dedicated to the diaspora. You see what Mr. Ismail Adeboye has done. There are 4 pillars in getting the full impact of the diaspora. One is that the countries of reception open their arms and create policies to facilitate the diaspora to come back and invest in the country, create jobs and wealth. 2 is to make sure that we have a level playing field, and is to make sure that their deeds are publicized so that they can see the impact they are doing. The Diaspora magazine 10 years on, I think, was a smart idea. As a systems engineer, I used to teach the MBA students and say, what's a business idea? A business idea is not any dumb idea. And any business idea is not a passive idea. If you see the need of society and you create a service of a product to resolve that need, then it's a smart idea. And when you do that, business today is defined as a social enterprise. That business does no longer exist in order to make profit for the shareholders. It exists to provide a service to the community. And in doing that, you generate some revenue for yourself. So what Mr. Ismail took up 10 years ago, to contact the diaspora, to share their story, and contact the authorities back in the continent, and
We are going to proceed. But before we do so, it's important for us to acknowledge the sponsors and partners. We want to say a very big thank you to the Union Bank of Africa, UBA, for not only partnering, but equally sponsoring this maiden edition. And to the watchful eyes of the CEO, Managing Director. Thank you, Mr. Jude Anele, for supporting this wonderful venture. We want to say thank you to MTN Cameroon. We want to say thank you to UCB Cameroon. We want to say thank you to Société Anonyme Alucam. We want to say thank you to Dangote Cement Cameroon. We want to say thank you to the Douala City Council. And of course, we're not leaving out the Port Authority of Douala. Very distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen. The next 45 minutes are going to be entertaining, educative, and most importantly, exciting. You're going to see some panelists go out of their gongs because of the passion and the drive behind the various topics. But we can assure you that the sole purpose of this panel discussion is an educative one, and of course, for each and everyone present here to network. The following thematics under which we're going to be entertained and educated this afternoon are going to be as follows. We're going to have the first one, we're going to have the policy role in supporting and maximizing diaspora contribution for the benefit of migrants, home and host countries. It is going to tell us about the legal framework around this. And to handle that thematic, we're going to have Magistrate Ayuketa Brandon. We're going to equally have another thematic, the diversity of diaspora resources, human, financial, and entrepreneurial. We're going to have how to harness productive contributions of Nigeria and Cameroon diaspora. We're going to have mobilizing diaspora investment and entrepreneurship for private sector development. We're going to have, last but not the least, the diaspora, social and economic growth, remittances, and nation building. And of course, we're going to have the last one, which would be diaspora and nation building, challenges, opportunities, and prospects. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it would be just fair and natural for us to go by the English saying, ladies they say before gentlemen. We have one lady amongst our panelists, and I'm sure all the distinguished gentlemen will agree with me that we have her first to start up this panel discussion. Do you agree? Yes. All right. On that note, please put your hands together for Dr. Elmin Fortabe as I give her the microphone. You stay on your seat. We'll give her a microphone. She's going to be...
I think Doctor would like to stand there.
Doctor is going to, within 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, if you can make it 3, it'll be good for us because the questions will be coming and the debates will be more interesting. She's going to be talking to us on the diversity of diaspora resources, human, financial, social, and entrepreneurial, how it affects or benefits women. Now we're gender sensitive. Dr. Elmin, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. MC. Distinguished panelists, it's a pleasure for me to be here and to be the first to speak. Even though it's not very easy to ask a teacher to speak in 3 minutes, I'm going to try. because teachers talk a lot. I'm sure when Dr. was talking, Dr. Ari was talking, everybody was like, he can go on and on. That's what we do as teachers, we talk. So thank you. It's a real pleasure to talk about this subject, not just because I'm a woman, but because I'm a returnee. Dr. Ari defined a diasporan and gave us different categories. So for many years of my life, I lived abroad. I think then I was a diasporan. Now I consider myself a returnee. And I have invested in Cameroon. I am still investing in Cameroon. And today, if I want to talk about how the diaspora can use their human resources, financial resources, their skills to help women entrepreneurs, I'm going to look at that from 3 angles. Number 1, I am going to look at bringing back their skills and expertise to help not just women-led businesses, but all businesses, SMEs, startups, and even big corporations like the UBA Bank. You know, the blessing about moving out of your home country to study is that you get to expand your perspective. We just heard that from the keynote. And when the diaspora can bring back their knowledge, their skills, their experience, their financial resources to work for local businesses, then we are sure to see growth. So the first thing I'd say is we need to have more people from the diaspora come back home to work for our corporations because their experience cannot be taken for granted. The second thing I would want to talk about is investment. We need the investment, financial investment. Today we have a lot of startups, we have SMEs that are struggling, and if the statistics are right, most startups, more than 70% of them in Cameroon, die before they get to 5 years. Because they start struggling, the financial resources are not important. So we need the diaspora to come back with their financial resources and invest in our startups, in our SMEs. This, we heard earlier on about the remittances. I'm sure someone is going to talk about the remittances. So far, if we look at how much has been sent home to Cameroon, I was looking at the statistics in 2022, and about 40 million US dollars that year was sent to Cameroon through remittances. But if you look at the impact that this has on the economy generally in terms of creating more wealth, creating employment, creating jobs, it's very small because most of this investment we heard a while ago is informal. So someone has a funeral, then the family member from the diaspora sends money for a funeral. That doesn't create more wealth. That doesn't create more jobs. So we need more of diaspora investment in our small businesses, in our startups. And then thirdly, we need strategic partnerships. The exposure, the experience that people in the diaspora have would actually help our small businesses. There are young people here, I am sure, are considering entrepreneurship. If people in the diaspora come back home to forge strategic partnerships, then we are going to see that more of the startups and SMEs would survive. But I know because I have been in their shoes, we also need to look at how to be prepared for this investment, how to be prepared for these partnerships, how to be prepared even to offer jobs or job opportunities for people who live in the diaspora. Are our small businesses investment ready? Do they have structures in place to attract investment from the diaspora? Is the environment enabling enough to protect the investment of people in the diaspora? Is there trust? Because when Doctor was talking, I wrote down something. When I lived in the diaspora I lived abroad for about 15 years, I had the same experience. Many friends had the same experience where they invested home, but those, we call them then ghost investments because there were no real investments. So family members would just rubbish the funds, And that has eroded the trust. Now people in the diaspora think there is no way I'm going to invest home because there's no one to guarantee that my investment is actually going to be safe. We need this trust. People in the diaspora need to be given this trust to know that when I invest home, then my investment can yield something. And then they need also, of course, the assurance that banks can finance projects, that they can have tax exemptions, that they can have tax holidays, if you like. They can have special loan products that can help them to be able to invest. So this thing is both ways. While we call on the diaspora to invest their skills, to invest their money, to invest their experiences, we now who live on this continent are supposed to be investment ready. We are supposed to be able to give this trust. We are supposed to be able to together make sure that the environment is enabling enough to attract this kind of investment. And because I was asked to talk about women, I just want to say something about women businesses. I'm sure that I will not be biased if I said that women-led businesses have more chances of surviving, because I know that research shows that women are more careful with funds, women are better sometimes in administration. There is this combination of not just logical thinking but emotions that makes sometimes women businesses more attractive. And so, thank you. And so just imagine that we put in place strategies to encourage more people in the diaspora to support women-led businesses. For example, in mentorship, young entrepreneurs in Cameroon, in Nigeria, in other African countries need mentors.
flow, but it shows the productivity of the people. And if they tapped into that, they could actually generate more wealth locally here. Because most people, let's say from Nigeria or outside Cameroon that are here, like I said, come here to do business. And they focus on the business. They wake and go to sleep thinking business. So it's important that the government pay attention to providing the enabling environments for them. And it's important for the government of Cameroon to also begin to get them to reinvest. So Nigeria would like this, to reinvest some of those financial flows in Cameroon, instead of taking everything back to Nigeria. But they will only do that when the confidence level, like Madam said, is also high, and they know that their investment will be protected, so to speak. So going to the Nigerian side, it's also look at the volume of flows coming. Nigeria today, under the presidency of His Excellency Ahmed Bola Tinubu, is challenged economically. Okay, the treasury has almost run dry, and the three key sources of revenue for the government would be export proceeds. So maybe what do we export? Largely crude oil, but we know it's challenged, largely because we are actually not extracting enough relative to the quota that is given to Nigeria. So I think export quota is about 1.8 million barrels per day. We are doing less than 1,000. Sometimes we get 1,200. So that revenue source is challenged. Not only that it's challenged, the future, maybe up to 2, 3 to 4 years of the revenues that are expected from crude oil has been sold up front. So Nigeria had, before Mr. Tinubu came, collected money up front. So most of what we are selling now, there's no direct naira or dollar coming. It's been, previous governments have taken the money. Okay, so crude oil sales and proceeds from that is challenged. The second one is foreign direct investment. Now, which is people from outside the country coming to set up businesses, bringing in their capital into the country, like Nigeria. That is also challenged because of insecurity, because of power issues. You find a lot of big companies are leaving the country. Okay, and in addition to that is the foreign portfolio investment, which is people that just come to invest in your capital market, buy shares, buy stock. Why would they come? Because any investor bringing money, what is uppermost in his mind is how he will take his money out when it's done. And to take that money out, it requires foreign exchange. And when foreign exchange is scarce, then you struggle to take your money out. That's why most airlines in Nigeria are struggling, because their money is trapped there. So that second block, which is investments, foreign investments, either direct or portfolio, challenged. The third largest is remittances, like Madam said, very huge. Okay. And I think that's an area Nigeria needs to pay, that's under the current administration, and they need to pay a lot of attention to. And ensure that we provide stable platforms that enables remittances. Try to increase the confidence level that when you bring your money in, your money is safe. From a banking perspective, luckily now, you actually can stay outside Nigeria and be able to open a bank account. Before, what used to be a challenge with people, like Prof said, you send money and they're telling you stories, is that you send this money to these people direct. But now, you actually can stay in Canada, stay in Cameroon, stay in the UK, send money to your own account, where you are the one that will now do the final disbursement, okay, using your mobile app or internet banking, as the case may be. So you find that there's some relative safety of funds, and it's easier for you to then manage your funds, not just send money direct to your sister's account or your father's account and stuff like that. So there's a bit of stability there. So the area I will stay is what I've said, which is that remittances is needed more in Nigeria now than ever, so to speak. And I think the government of Nigeria needs to pay very, very serious attention to Nigerians living abroad and encourage them to send money home. Luckily, with what is happening to the exchange rate in Nigeria, you'll also find that if you send $1 today, the yield in Naira will be almost double than it was a few months ago. But the prices of things have not risen with the same proportion. So it's still a lot of attraction for you to send money back home. So I'll also use the opportunity to call on our brothers and sisters in Cameroon, please, to remember home, send more money home. The government needs that to make sure they're also financing imports for those things that are important in Nigeria. As per loans, I will say when it comes to financing maybe capital projects or investment-related projects, banks, especially in Nigeria, even in Cameroon, have evolved. Before, it used to be very, very difficult, but you find even banks getting into venture capital financing, greenfield projects that banks are getting into. And secondly, you also have solutions where banks are getting into equity investment in companies in such a way that they're not just lending money to either provide some seed capital or equity. And finally, like our group chairman, Tony Elumelu Foundation, they also provide seed capital for fresh entrepreneurs to enable you that it's not a loan, so it's a grant. You don't have to pay back. And that has been helping well over 300,000 entrepreneurs in Africa. So I think, like I said, the government of Cameroon really can gain a lot from diasporans here, particularly Nigerians, if they understand the flows that are happening. And our dear home country, Nigeria, can also take a good look at Cameroon to say what's going on. US, UK, and Cameroon. They need to take us more seriously here in Cameroon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jude Anele, for that insight. We take home, and of course to the guests who would have questions subsequently, the conclusion is bring more money back home to Nigeria for those who are in Cameroon, and for the Cameroon government to pay attention to what is happening here as far as the diaspora is concerned and try to tap into it, thereby creating an enabling environment that would ensure that everybody goes home in a win-win package. Please, can we put our hands together one more time? Our next speaker is going to be talking on the challenges, opportunities, and prospects of diaspora and nation building. That would be no other person than Mr. Alawode Daniel, the Consul for Economic Affairs, Media, and Public Communication. Please put your hands together as he takes his 3 to 5 minutes to tell us. But I trust him, he'll do it in 3 minutes.
Thank
I know
you,
him.
thank you very much. Permit me to use the podium.
Of course.
I've been sitting a while. Thank you. The international MC, I call him international MC because north, east, south, or west, you meet him there. We've been meeting on occasions. The other time in Limbe, I said as long as it is Limbe, you are there. But now, as long as it is in Cameroon, I think it's a round of applause for the international MC. And straight to the business of the day, I am standing here not to sacrifice points on the altar of shortness of time. I try as much as possible to contain myself within the. Also, on behalf of the Consul General of Nigeria to Northwest and Southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon, I am presenting this on diaspora and nation building, challenges, opportunities, and prospects. I really appreciate the earlier speakers. They have made points that are here. But just building upon the, standing on the laid down protocol, as the Prof defined, diasporas are people that live outside of their country. Despite that they are outside of the disconnection from the country of origin, they still, that does not take them away from the connection, love, and support to their country. It's for this reason that many governments in the world recognize diaspora for their economic, diplomatic, social, cultural, political contributions to their countries. Evidence of the development outcome of diaspora engagement includes trade, investment, skill, and knowledge transfer. Members of a country's diaspora can contribute to national development of their countries of origin by helping to build schools, hospitals, industries, solid infrastructures, as well as to respond by intervening during times of emergencies and outbreaks of epidemics. When we are talking of opportunities and prospects, the diaspora of a particular country have ample opportunities to contribute to the national growth and development of the country, economically, socially, politically, as mentioned earlier on, and even performing diplomatic consular functions for the sake of their country, wherever they are. Their diplomatic role is in their being good ambassadors of their homelands, anywhere they are, and in whatever they do. Is in making good image of their country, and sometimes by performing consular diplomatic functions, as I said, on behalf of the country, in absence of official diplomatic mission in their place of residence. The diaspora is also an economic actor, establishing business relations between their homelands and their current place of residence, trading goods and services in between their homelands and their host country. I'm aware that many of us, we eat our native food outside the country that we are. We really appreciate the activities, commercial activities of diaspora in this aspect. They are investors in the national economy. They send money back home, as people have been saying, and by that contribute to the GDP, gross domestic product, gross domestic product of their homeland. The diaspora is therefore a resource to support, to nurture, and to reckon with. Any government that is not doing it is still missing it. Is in view of this, for instance, that in 2017, the government of Nigeria established a diaspora commission under the leadership of Honorable Abike Dabiri Erewa. When Prof. Van Dok and some other speakers were talking, I think specifically they mentioned maybe setting aside a ministry for diaspora. This commission is serving this purpose, kind of collaborating with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. In the Nigeria and diaspora, NAIJA was established to provide for the engagement of Nigeria and diaspora in the policies, projects, participations in the development of Nigeria, and for purpose of utilizing human capital, material resources of Nigeria in diaspora towards the overall social, economic, cultural, and political development of Nigeria and for related matters. This is justifiable because Nigeria is one of the two leading African countries in terms of diaspora remittance. The remittance that they have been talking about, very, very important. The other country is Egypt. For instance, between January and June 2022 alone, which is 6 months, Nigeria attracted $10.1 billion diaspora remittance. In sub-Saharan Africa, Nigeria still leads in terms of diaspora remittance with $23 billion in 2019. followed by Ghana, $3 billion, Kenya, $2.8 billion, and South Sudan, $1.3 billion. For the African continent, the value of remittances from the African diaspora has been increasing. It doubled from $37 billion in 2010 to $87 billion in 2019, reaching about $95.6 billion in 2021. In comparison, the official development assistance, ODA, to Africa in 2021 was $35 billion and 36% of the remittances from the diaspora. The diaspora, therefore, provides an alternative source of revenue to meet the developmental challenges of the continent. On the Global Remittances Index, Nigeria is in the 6th place, with India in the lead with $79 billion, China in the 2nd place, that's $69 billion, Mexico, 3rd place, $36 billion, then the Philippines, 4th place, $34 billion, and Egypt, of course, 5th position with $29 billion. Now, due to the financial importance of the diaspora community, I have seen some commercial banks in Nigeria establishing specific financial networks with the diaspora community. For instance, Zenith Bank and First Bank have what they call diaspora banking, which offers the diaspora community different payment services like credit transfer, credit debit, deposit, and lending investment, and so on. Before now, what used to be was, for diaspora remittance was, from abroad, were just Western Union and a few Nigerian-owned companies and agents, and a plethora of informal channels, and many others. Many of the diaspora community lost huge amounts to their relatives and friends, as I said. You see, because of want of time, this could be part of the challenges that are confronting the nationals in diaspora. We don't have the time to give all that we have here, but I want to really look at the aspect of the challenges more. When you look at the relationship between diaspora and their countries of origin, the challenge that the diaspora is having is a way about the connection, networking, even between diaspora to diaspora. As they are outside there, one of the challenges is, as it's mentioned, maybe 6 million Nigerians, for instance, in Cameroon. If you go and look at the officially registered ones, the number is nothing to compare with many others outside the fold that are not networking with them, that are not cooperating with them. So many ways by which we can encourage participation of diaspora and nation building is by maybe allowing them, including them, making them to feel belong, making policies and rules that will make them have a sense of belonging back home. And an instance is diaspora voting. Diaspora voting, some countries have been able to achieve this in Africa. Nigeria is set to achieve that. But this is one of the ways by which you, and the parliamentarians, when they are making their laws, they should make laws that will put into consideration the interests of those that are in diaspora, and giving them ample opportunity to really come and invest and help in building the country. Well, the story will be for another day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Alawode Daniel, for that presentation. And we're sure that as we prepare to flank you left and right with questions, you would certainly edify us more. But we take home one message. Contribute in nation building back home by building social amenities that can go a long way to ease and facilitate the standard of living of those back home by building schools, hospitals, create jobs, companies, and of course, if the government back home too can always create an enabling environment for others to come home and invest. Thank you very much. Le prochain panéliste qui va prendre la parole est un distingué panéliste qui, ma foi, est quelqu'un qu'on ne présente plus. Il a une aisance verbale sans précédent et cet après-midi, il va nous entretenir sur une thématique assez précise. Mais il faudrait préciser, chers panélistes, qu'à la fin, il sera très important pour nous de garder quelque chose et à la fin, il faudra se souvenir que lors du 10e anniversaire de NAIJA, Diaspora, Monsieur Roland Foucault, qui va prendre la parole, était présent. Please put your hands together as I hand him the microphone.
Ok, merci.
Monsieur Foucault, nous n'avons aucun doute sur le fait que vous puissiez vous essayer en langue anglaise. Bien entendu, le Cameroun est bilingue. Mais prenez la peine de vous exprimer dans la langue dans laquelle vous êtes le plus à l'aise. Merci.
Ok, merci pour cette précision, parce que là, j'hésitais. Ok, donc en tant que facilitateur francophone de la Fondation Tony Lemelo, vous allez comprendre que j'ai l'habitude de m'exprimer en français quand tout le monde parle anglais et en anglais quand tout le monde parle français. Donc, mon support est en anglais, mais je vais le partager en français. Ok, le thème qui m'a été soumis ce jour, c'est in English first. Ok.
It's an Android panelist.
Mobilizing diaspora investment and entrepreneurship for private sector development. Donc, en quelque sorte, mobiliser l'investissement et les capacités entrepreneuriales de la diaspora afin de développer le secteur privé. Donc, pour aller sur ce point assez rapidement, nous allons aborder deux choses. La première chose, ça va être le secteur privé, comment le mobiliser effectivement. Et nous allons le faire à travers un exemple, un cas pratique qui est la société STPN Bio qui a mis sur le marché le produit bien connu Venin Serein. C'est un vaccin contre les morsures de serpents et les insectes venimeux. Et mon deuxième propos parlera du développement de ce secteur privé, effectivement, qui sera pour nous, et comme vous allez le découvrir, une opportunité pour la diaspora. Comment cela, on va le découvrir ensemble. Donc déjà, il faut savoir que pour mobiliser le secteur privé, il est important que nous créions des leaders. Lorsqu'on parle d'entrepreneuriat, on parle beaucoup plus de leadership, plus que tout. Et en poussant les recherches, vous comprendrez que lorsqu'on est un bon leader, aucune porte ne peut se fermer à vous. Et l'entrepreneuriat, c'est l'espace où le leadership s'exprime le mieux dans le monde. Ok, lorsque nous créons des leaders, il va de soi que ces leaders sont à même à développer des projets innovants. Sans innovation, il n'y a pas de développement. Et tout ce que nous faisons va tourner autour du développement.